In this After Effects tutorial, I'm going to show you 5 trendy After Effects tips which you can use to enhance your post productions. So I am Jeffrey Solomon, and without any further ado, let's get started. So starting off, you could see that today we're going to create this one which you see right over here. So it's simple and easy. You can do it in a couple of steps. So starting off, I'm going to make a new composition. Let's call it the main composition. So keep the width 1920 and the height as 1080, and keep the frame rate as 60, or you can actually keep it as 30. Maybe I'll keep it as 50 for making it as smooth as possible. So duration, I'm going to go with maybe like 0.77 seconds. Hit OK, and you're gonna get something like this. So number two, I'm gonna make a text layer. So I'm gonna make a text composition for the text. I'm just gonna name it as text here, and keep the width 9020 into 1080, and just like so, hit OK. I'm gonna just grab the text tool which you see right over here, and just gonna change the color to maybe like white, and type a text. Just gonna go with this one which you see right over here, and go to the align tab and align it to the center. So you could see that maybe I'll change the size of the text font, maybe just like so. I'm gonna go with the work sans font and black, just like so. If you want, I'll give a link in the description. You can just go and check the font if you like it, and change by clicking Ctrl Alt and Home. You can actually center the anchor point just like so, just like that, and go to the align tab and make sure it's aligned to the center, just like so. I'm gonna actually type another text. Maybe I'll actually animate this before I go to the step number 2. So what I'll do is open the text layer and go to text. So you can see the animate option right over here. So you can just click over here and click position. So you could see that we have got an animated one, and within the animated one we got the range selector one, and over here you could see the position. So over here you could see the add option within the animated one. So click over here, go to property and add opacity to it. So decrease the opacity to 0, and change this. Maybe I'll keep it to 100, and actually reduce the position, the x value, maybe the y value, just like so. Yeah, I think that will be good. And reduce the opacity to 0, and go to the range selector, and you could see the start, end, and offset. So I'm just gonna animate the end percent which you see right over here, just like so. I'm just gonna keep it at 100, put a keyframe in the end, maybe go a little bit forward, maybe like 1 or 1.5 seconds, just like so, and reduce the end value to 0. So you're gonna get something like that. So that's kind of cool. So just select everything, click click F9, go to the graph editor, and change the graph to something like this. So you're gonna get something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So now you could see that we have got something like this. So if you think that actually it's kind of so long, you can actually go over here, go to animator one, and actually reduce the position to somewhat like that. So you're gonna get something like that. So that's kind of cool and simple, just like so. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna make the second text. So grab on the text tool and make another text. I'm just gonna go with something like this, and actually reduce the size of the text. Something like that, just like so, and actually change this to maybe like semi bold, or even like thin. Maybe I think the semi bold will be good, just like so, and reduce the text size, something like that, and put it right over here. Make sure you're aligning the horizontal position, that is a vertical position, just like so, something like that. Okay, maybe I'll put it right over here and align it to the middle, center right over there, just like so. You could see that this part actually kind of overlaps over here, so I don't want that. Maybe I'll actually move a little bit over here. It doesn't matter, a little bit pixels. If you move that, it doesn't look so bad, just like so, just like that. So you could see that we have got something like that. So now I'm going to try to animate the motion design, which you see the subtitle. So open it and go to text, or you can see the animate option right over here. So click on it and add a position to it. So you could see the go to the animator one and add a property called skew and add another property that is the opacity to it. So you can see that we've got the opacity, the skew, and the position. So change the position to somewhat like maybe like 20 over here, maybe like 20 over here. Maybe you could see that it goes somewhere right to the right side of your composition, your layer, and change the skew value to somewhat like 30. So maybe like 30 or 20, you could see something like that. Yeah, that would do good. And change the opacity down to 0 and go to the range selector, and just like the previous one, we're gonna animate this one. I'm just gonna animate it right from here, put a keyframe in the end value, go a little bit forward, couple of frames forward, and actually decrease the end value to 0. So you're gonna get something like that. So that's kind of cool, right? You could see the skew and the opacity, that position doing their job right over there. So select all the keyframes, click F9, go to the graph editor, and change the graph to something like this. So it's gonna add a smooth end just like so, which you see right over there. Maybe I'll actually increase the, by holding Alt, actually drag the end keyframe, so you're gonna get something like that. Maybe I'll actually increase the size of it, the length of it even more, so you're gonna get something like this, just like so. So now we are done with animating the text. So we need to get the the scale property. So what I'll do is actually add a null object. So you can see that we've got the null object. So select both the text layers, and you could see the pick whip tool right over here, and just drag and drop it in the null object just like that, and click on the null object and click S in your keyboard, and right over here when the animation kind of stops right over there, just over there, put a keyframe in the scale value and just go a little bit forward and decrease the scale to somewhat like that, just like so. So select both the keyframes, click F9, and go to graph editor and just change the graph to somewhat like this. Yes, somewhat just like so. So you're gonna get something like that. So as soon as your animation kind of ends over here, you're gonna get it something like that. So I'll try to add a variation to both the text by actually change the color of the subtitle, which you see over here, by going to the characters tab and actually changing the color of it, something like that. So you can see that it's gonna go with something like a greenish color, which you see right over there, just like so. So now we are done with the text layer. So you can see by the end of the text layer, we're gonna get something like this. Maybe I'll actually, yeah, maybe just keep it right over there. Yeah, I'll just actually pull this right over here, so you could see that as soon as the animation ends, this actually goes right over there. So now go to the main composition and drag and drop the text here composition right over here. So you're gonna get something like that, just like so. So I'm gonna add number 2, I'm gonna add a background to it. So what I'm gonna do is actually, you could see in the preview that actually I added you could see the circles right over there. So I'm gonna add the circles, same thing right over here. So what I'm gonna do is actually grab on the ellipse tool, which you see right over here. Maybe I'll actually go to the main composition and actually hide the text, which you see right over here, and I'm gonna I'll change the color of the thing to this one, or maybe I'll go to fill, click on the fill option which you see over here, and change it to solid color, and change the stroke to none, just like so, and change the fill color to white, just like that. So I'm gonna draw by holding shift in a keyboard, just draw a small circle, just like so. So you can see that I have made a small circle. So open the shape layer, go to the ellipse, go to contents, open the ellipse one, and you can see the add option right over here. Maybe I'll actually, add option right over here, click over here and add a repeater to it. So you could see that we've got the repeater. Open the repeater and change the copies to maybe like something like 50 would do good, I guess, just like so. And go to transform repeater 1 and change the position to somewhat like increase the x value of the position to somewhat like that according to your need, just like so. And what I'll do is actually position it to right over here, just like so. Increase the position just like so, maybe just like that. And yeah, add another, so we need to add another repeater, so click over here and add another repeater to it and open the repeater number 2 and go to the copies and change it to maybe like 50 would do good, I guess. Go over here, click 50 and go to transform repeater 2 and change the exposure, change the value just like so. Change the position to just like that and change the x value to 0. So you're gonna get something like that. So now we need to animate the circles. So click select the shape layer one, click S in your keyboard, P in your keyboard, and go to the starting of your, maybe like the end of the animation, maybe starting of the animation. Put a keyframe in the position, go to the end of the animation, and just pull this thing which you see right over here to somewhat like that, just like so. So now when you play it, you're gonna get something like that. So that's kind of cool. So you can actually even take the fill and maybe you can actually add a stroke to it, just like so, and reduce the fill to none. You're gonna get something like that. It totally depends in your choice. So maybe I'll increase the stroke size a little bit, just like so. Yeah, just like that. So now I'm gonna make a new solid color. The color doesn't matter. Maybe I'll rename it to BG for background, and I'll put both the layers at the back. I put both the layers at the bottom of the text animation layer, and go to the background and the BG layer and add an effect called gradient ramp, just like so. And just gonna go with the color, maybe which you see right over here, just like so. Go here and add a kind of a dark pinkish color, just like so. Just like so. Maybe I'll actually turn on the text layer and change the second color which you see right over here to something like that, just like so. Maybe I like even more actually decrease the size of it, maybe like the color of the darkness of it. So yeah, you see that we got something like that. So you could see that the text and the background actually kind of overlaps and it doesn't look good. So what I'll do is, you can see the toggle switches mode right over here. Just click over here and select the shape layer and change it to overlay, and you could see that we have got something like that. So you could see the text looks nice and crisp. So we are done with so you could see that we are done with the text and the background. So number 3 I'm gonna do that is clusters. So I'm gonna make a clusters. So clusters number 1, and go with the default settings, hit OK. So click on the fill option which you see right over here and change it to solid color. Click on the stroke option and change it to none, just like so. By holding shift, make an ellipse, just like so. Go to the align time and align it to the center. So click Control Alt and Home key to actually center the anchor point, or you can even use other scripts like Motion Tools V, or even other scripts. There are many scripts just like that to position the anchor point. So I'm gonna use the simple shortcut Control Alt and Home, just like so. So click over here, and I'm gonna click on maybe I'll click on the stroke option and change it to solid color, and click on the fill option and change it to none. So you're gonna get something like that. Maybe I'll increase the stroke value, just like so, and click S in your keyboard and actually resize it a little bit, maybe a little bit, just like so, and align it to the center of the composition. Control Alt and Home to center the anchor point, and open the shape layer and go to contents. Go to contents, and you can see the add option right over here. and add a trim parts to it. Go to the trim parts, and now when you actually kind of animate this, when you actually change it, you see that these things also change along with the shape layer which you actually made right now. So change the end value to 0 and put a keyframe right over there, and maybe go a little bit forward, maybe like a 1.5 seconds, something like that, and change it to 100. Select the keyframes, F9, so you could see that we have got something like that. Maybe I'll reduce the size of it a little bit, so you're gonna get something like that. Select it, go to the graph editor. Maybe no, you don't need the graph editor. So select both the keyframes, Control C, go to the start, and Control V to copy it. So you could see that I actually offset it a little bit. So when it actually ends right over here, it actually begins right over there. So that's kind of cool. So what I'll go is go to the Eclipse tool. Now that is the Eclipse side over here, and go to stroke 1, and you could see the line cap which you see right over here. Change it to round caps so you could get the smooth edges right over there, just like so. So what I'm going to do is actually skip it right over there and click Ctrl D to duplicate it and put it at the bottom, and click S to scale it, and I'll actually scale it a little more, and click R for rotation and actually rotate it a little bit. So I'll actually even offset it a little bit, so you're gonna get something like that. Maybe I'll actually change the size of it, that is a rotation property of it, just like so, just like that. Maybe I'll actually go over here, open it, and go to contents and go to trim parts, and over here you could see the trim parts right over there. What I'll do is actually delete all the keyframes and go to the beginning of the composite, that is the layer, and put a keyframe in the start position and add it just like so. This is gonna add an opposite effect to the one which you see right over there. Over here and change the start property right over there to 100. Maybe go to the starting keyframe and change it to 0. So you're gonna get something like that. So what I'll do is right over here, select the keyframe, click F9, Control C to copy it, and go to Control C to copy it, go to the end value and paste it right over there. So you're gonna get something like that, just like so. What I'll do is actually decrease the stroke value down to 15. So this is gonna add a really cool effect, just like so. I'm gonna change the color of it. I'm just gonna change the color of the shape layer. We're going to the stroke and change the color of the stroke, just like so, just like that. And what I'll do is actually copy the shape layer 1, Control D, and put it at the bottom of both the layers, and just offset it a little bit. And I'll increase Control C to, click S in your keyboard to scale it, and scale it right over there, and click R in your keyboard for rotation property, and just like so. So reduce the stroke down to 10. So you're gonna get something like that. You're gonna get something like that. Maybe I'll actually reduce the size that is a distance between all the layers, just like so. So you're gonna get something like that. So now what I'll do is go to the main composition and drag the cluster layer, that is a cluster composition, and put it right over there. So you're gonna get something like this, and just go over here and reduce, click S in your keyboard and scale it right over there, just like so. So click Ctrl D to again duplicate it and put it somewhere right over here, and offset it maybe a little bit, and again Ctrl D to duplicate it and put it somewhere right over there, and offset it maybe a little bit, and click S in your keyboard to scale it to add a little bit of variation to it. Maybe another time I'll duplicate it and put it right over there, and I even offset this a little bit, just like so, and click scale in your keyboard and actually reduce the scale property. So you're gonna get something like that. So this adds a kind of a little bit of variation and a touch up to the look, which actually takes your post production to a next level. So just like so. Just like that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another arrow which you just see right over here. You can see the lines which you see right over here. So that's kind of cool, right? You can see the lines which move over here. I'm just gonna show you exactly how to do those lines. So click over here and I'm gonna make another composition called lines. Hit OK and grab on the pen tool which you see right over here and click on the stroke and change it to maybe like I'll change it to a green color maybe. Yeah, just like so. Doesn't matter. We will go over here and change the composition setting, change the background color to white and hit OK. Change the stroke color to black, just like so. I'm just gonna make a line just like so, which you just see right over here, just like so. It's totally random and just there's nothing like you know to make accurate or something like that. It's totally random, just like that, just like so. So you could see that we have got something like that. So open it, open the shape layer, go to maybe I'll add trim parts to it. Go trim parts and I'm gonna animate it. So put a keyframe in the end value, change it to 0, go maybe like 1.5 seconds and change it to 100. Select keyframes, click F9, so you're gonna get something like that. So I'm just gonna do the same animation. So select the keyframes, Control C to copy it and just paste it in the start position, and you're gonna get something like that. Maybe I'll actually even more decrease the keyframe sizes, just like so. That's too much. Maybe I'll put it right over here, just like so, just like that. So you could see that we have got something like that. So I'm just gonna go to the main composition and again add the line composition right over there, just like so. Maybe I'll change the color. Maybe I'll change the color to white. Maybe I'll add a fill effect to it to change the color to white. Maybe I'll change it to somewhat like greenish color, maybe just like so, just like that. And Control D to duplicate it and put that somewhere right over here. And to add a little bit of variation to it, click R in your keyboard and actually put it somewhere right over there and offset it a little bit, just like so. Maybe another time, maybe like I'll duplicate it and right over here, just take it and put it right over here, just like so, and click R in your keyboard and actually maybe I'll even more do it. I'll actually even more offset a little bit, just like so. So now you could see that we have got something like that, just like so. So that's kind of cool. So what I'll do, you could see the background and the text are kind of both are bright, and we don't actually we need to make the text pop out other than the background stuff which you see right over there. So what I'll do is add, you could see the shape layer, that is the background circles which you see. I'm gonna add a new layer. I'm gonna add a new solid. Make sure the solid is black. Hit OK. So you're gonna get something like that. And click T in your keyboard to reduce the opacity of the black solid. So reduce opacity maybe like 31. And you can see that we have got a really cool effect. You could see that now. You could see the difference when I actually maybe I'll actually hide the layer. You see right over there, just like so. Actually kind of a curves effect to it, just like so, just like that. So now finally I'm gonna add, you could see that over here, you could see these things moving right over here, these things like the slide bars moving right over there. So I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that one. So I'm just gonna make a new, maybe I'll actually choose a rectangle tool and actually make a small rectangle, just like so, just like that. Click on the fill option, change it to solid color. Click on the stroke option and change it to none. And now click R in your keyboard and actually change the rotation property of it, and maybe zoom it a little bit and just change it, just reduce the size of it, just like so. Yeah, so I'm gonna animate it. So what I'll do is right over here, click P in your keyboard, put a position over there. Maybe I'll put it maybe I'll actually put it right over here, put a keyframe in the position, and maybe go like a 2 seconds forward and put it right over there. Maybe like it's time. Maybe I'll actually increase the size of it just like so and put it right over there. So you're gonna get something like that. And that's too much, so I'll actually reduce the length of the keyframes. Select all the keyframes, click F9, just like that. Go to the graph editor and change the graph to somewhat like that, just like so. So that kind of looks good. Yeah, just like so. Maybe I'll actually decrease the width of it, just like so, and I'll rename it as the pass 01, just like that, and Control D to duplicate it. And actually I'll just offset it maybe like a little bit, maybe like a 6 or 7 frames forward. And yeah, you could see that we have got something like that. That kind of looks cool, right? So what I'm going to do is actually change the overlay. You could see that toggle switch is moved right over here, and change it to overlay. Change the mode to overlay, change both the things, so both the things to overlay. But you could see that doesn't look that much cool. So what I'll do is actually add an effect called fill, just like so, and change the color of the fill to green color, which you see right over there. So I'm just gonna copy the hex code of it, and go over here, and maybe I'll copy the fill effect over here and go over here and paste it. So you're gonna get something like that. So that's it guys for today, and if you guys learned something new, please make sure to hit the like button along with the subscribe button to stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching, bye and take care.